Introduction to data communications. Whenever we are communicating, we are sharing information. This information sharing can be either local or remote. When two individuals are talking to each other, then we can call this communication as local communication, which is done face to face. Whereas remote communication takes place over the distance, which is nothing but you are now listening to the lecture which I am telling you. I am at one place and you are at another place. So this type of communication is called remote communication. Now let us get acquainted with the basic terminologies of data communication. The term telecommunication means communication at a distance, which includes telephones, telegraphs and televisions. These devices helps us to communicate over distance. Here the word data refers to the information presented in whatever form which is agreed upon by the parties who are communicating. And the next one is data communications, which is nothing but it is the exchange of data between the two devices through some form of transmission medium. So you can say the transmission medium's example as some wire cable. So we will be discussing about the different types of transmission mediums in the later class. Okay, and the next one is the effectiveness of the data communication system depends upon three fundamental characteristics. The first one is delivery, the second one is accuracy, and the third one is timeliness. Delivery means the system must deliver the data to the correct destination, which means data must be received by the intended device or a particular user and only by that device or user. So this is what we are going to call it as delivery. The second characteristic is accuracy, that is the system must deliver the data accurately. So if the data which is being delivered from the one place to another place is not accurate, then the receiver cannot use this particular data. So for this reason the data which is being transmitted must be accurate. The third characteristic is timeliness, which is nothing but the communication system must transmit the data in a timely fashion, which is nothing but transferring the data as it is produced. Let us take an example that now if I am going to pronounce a word called effectiveness of data communication. So if this effectiveness of data communication word has been reached to you without any timeliness, that is when I am going to discuss about these three fundamental characteristics, now my audio is in sync with this video. If my audio is not in sync with this video, so then we can say that this particular video is not having a timeliness characteristic, isn't it? So the timeliness characteristic is also very much important. So what I mean to say is, if I am discussing about three fundamental characteristics, but the video shows the mouse pointing of effectiveness of data communication, then there is a difference between the video which I am showing and what audio which I am going to tell you. So this is called as timeliness, that is there should be a sync between the audio and video which I am going to discuss with you. So next we will be discussing about the components of data communication system. A data communication system has 5 components. So let us see each and every component in detail. The first component is message. Message is the information or data to be communicated. It can consist of text, numbers, pictures, sound or video, or you can have any combination of all these things. The second one is sender. The sender is the device which sends the data message. It can be a computer or it can be a workstation, it can be a telephone handset or it can be a video camera and so on. The third type of component is receiver. A receiver is a device which receives the message from the sender. Here the receiver can be a computer, a workstation or a telephone handset or a television. The fourth component is medium. The transmission medium is the physical path by which a message travels from sender to the receiver. So this medium can be a twisted pair wire, or it can be a coaxial cable, or it can be a fiber optic cable, or it can be a radio waves. So what are the different types of mediums and what kind of mediums we are going to discuss, all these things will be covered in the next classes. And the last and final component of data communication system is very important thing, a protocol. So what is a protocol? A protocol is a set of rules and these rules governs the data communication. That is, it can be also called as an agreement between the communicating devices. If you do not have a protocol, then the two devices can be communicating, but the communication is not in a proper manner. So if I speak to you in French, you cannot understand because you can understand only in English. So our protocol is that I should deliver my lecture only in English because all the listeners out there are going to understand only English. So this is nothing but a simple and sample example of a protocol. So these are all the different components of data communication system. As already discussed, data representation can be done in different forms such as text, numbers, images, audio and video. So now let us go with the text. So the text can be represented as a bit patterns, which is nothing but a sequence of zeros and ones. Okay. So the total number of bits in a given bit pattern depends upon the number of symbols in a language. So if a language consists a particular number of symbols, then it will be having a particular number of bit patterns. Okay. So now different sets of bit patterns have been designed to represent text symbols. So each of these sets is called a code. Okay. And the process of representing this symbol is called coding. For example, in English language, we have 26 symbols to represent uppercase letters. We have 26 symbols to represent the lowercase letters and 10 symbols to represent the numerical characters, and also we have some special symbols. So different sets of bit patterns are used to represent these symbols. So this process of representing the symbols is called coding. So one of the popular codes is ASCII code, and this ASCII code has been developed by ANSI, which is nothing but American National Standards Institute. So this ANSI has developed a code called American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which is popularly called as ASCII code. So this ASCII code consists of, or it uses 7 bits for representing of each symbol. So how many number of symbols we can get from these 7 bits is 2 power 7, which is nothing but 128 different symbols can be defined by this ASCII code. And the next code is Unicode. So even though ASCII code is going to represent 128 different symbols, this ASCII code and extended ASCII codes cannot represent the languages which are other than English. So to represent the symbols in the languages which are other than English, we have another code called Unicode, wherein this Unicode is going to use 16 bits. So this Unicode is going to represent up to 65,536 symbols. The next type of representation is ISO standard, which is nothing but International Standards Organization, and it has designed a code using the 32-bit pattern, so which can represent up to 4294967 symbols, so which is used to represent any symbol in the world today. So this is how we are going to represent the symbols which we are using in our languages. So the next type of information can be is numbers. So as we are representing the alphabets using the bit patterns, we can also represent the numbers by using the bit patterns. So here the numbers are directly converted to their binary equivalents. So the next type of data representation is images. So images can also be represented using the bit patterns. So generally in the simple form, image is composed of a matrix of pixels. So pixels is a short form of picture elements where each pixel is a small dot. Okay. So now the size of the pixel depends upon the resolution. If there is more resolution, then you will be having more clarity in this particular picture. That is, let us say for an example, an image can be divided into 1000 pixels or 10,000 pixels. So which will be having more quality? An image is having more number of pixels will be the better quality or better representation of that particular image. But the only drawback is that if the total number of pixels are going to increase, that is, if the resolution is increasing, more amount of memory is needed to store this particular image. So actually this is the better representation, that is 10,000 pixels, but to store all these 10,000 pixels, more memory is needed when compared to 1000 pixels. The next type of data representation is audio. So audio refers to the recording or broadcasting of sound or music. So you know that audio is different from the text or numbers or images, right? So audio is continuous, it is not discrete in nature. And the last type of data representation is video. So here video refers to the recording or broadcasting of a picture or a movie. Now I am recording a video and I am broadcasting this video to you, isn't it? So this is nothing but a simple example of video. So video can be either produced as a continuous entity, that is by using a TV camera, or it can be a combination of images, that is I can combine different images at a single place and again I can create a video also, which is a discrete entity, isn't it? So here when I am going to join all the different images, I may give you an illusion that I may create a motion of this particular images, and so that I can tell you that this is a video. So video can either be produced as a continuous entity or it can be produced as a discrete entity. So the next concept is direction of data flow. Generally the communication between two devices can take place in three different types. The first one is simplex communication, the second one is half duplex communication, and the third one is full duplex communication. The first one is simplex communication. So in this simplex communication, the communication is unidirectional. That is, you can take an example of a one-way street wherein only one device is able to transmit the data and the other device is able to only receive the data. So this is, if you see here, the direction is going from this particular mainframe to this monitor, where this mainframe is going to transmit the data and this monitor is going to receive the data. So this is nothing but a simplex type of communication. So the examples of this simplex communication can be a keyboard, wherein you can only input the key from the keyboard, isn't it? So here the keyboard can only send the data. Okay, so this is an example of a simplex communication. Coming to the next type of communication is half duplex communication. Here we have two stations. This is the direction flow. Here communication happens between these two stations in both directions, but not at the same time. That is, at time t1, station 1 can only send the data and station 2 can only receive data. Now at time 2, now the station 2 can send the data and the station 1 can receive data. That is, for a given instant of time, only one station can send and one station can receive, but they cannot send and receive the information simultaneously, both at the same given amount of time. The best example of half duplex communication is walkie talkies. So wherein we are going to say that, okay, this car is going from this place to another place, over. So whenever he say over, then the other guy is going to listen that one and again he is going to give some information, okay, I agree with that, over. So again he will be telling it is over. So like that they are going to do the half duplex communication. That is, they are going to communicate with each other. They can send and receive information, but they cannot send and receive at the same time. So this is called half duplex communication. And the last type of communication is full duplex communication, or simply you can call it as a duplex communication, wherein the stations involved in this communication can send and receive the data simultaneously. That is, the direction of data can be either this side or this side. That is, simultaneous data transmission takes place here. So one frequently stated example of this particular full duplex communication is telephones. So wherein in the telephones we are going to that is, the sender and receiver are going to talk at the same time. So they can listen at the same time, they can talk at the same time. So this is an example of full duplex communication. So this is how we are going to see the direction of data flow, that is only in one direction, which is simplex, in both directions but not at the same time half duplex, in both the directions, and they can be happening at the simultaneous times, which is nothing but a full duplex. So this is all about the direction of data flow between the devices involved in the communication. Thank you.